G'day fellas, welcome to a replay review where we're going to be taking a look at Dutch versus Japanese. So you'll be very interested to know that the opponent in this game is CR Dupes, but most importantly, the main player is Keanu Reeves. Yes, you heard that correctly, Keanu Reeves. Now, I don't actually think this is the real Keanu Reeves, I just suspect it's probably a big fan. But nonetheless, he's playing Japanese, and very curious to see exactly what type of build order he's going to be going for, because in the most recent patch, the Japanese power was actually reduced quite significantly. So it'd be nice to see whether he goes for Torii Gates or whether he goes for the Toshogu Shrine in the early game. His opponent, so CR Dupes, he was the one who actually sent me this replay, so we're going to be taking a look at it. Now we're just having a bit of an issue with the replay speed, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed up the game just so you guys are watching. We're going to be taking a look and identifying any errors that we can spot in the early game. So we're just going to be watching CR Dupe, so pulling away the Explorer in the early game, doing a good job here. I'm not sure if he's used his crack shot already, but doing a really nice job of microing around the circle. Perfect job with the crack shot as well, and then bringing the Tiger in. This looks perfect. So CR Dupes advised me that he's about 1250 rating. So this is definitely looking like, you know, the start is definitely looking like more than 1250 rating, I can say that much. It was a very, very clean execution. Not too much health lost on that, about 130, probably, yeah, maybe a little bit too much health, but not too bad, not too bad. We need to take a look and see that Dupe's getting attacked over here by the Japanese monks. We'll take a look just very quickly at his deck. See what we've got. No town militia, no colonial militia in the deck. Not a big fan. Got the 7 Reuters in here. The Reuters. Not a big fan of this card either. But other than that, looks pretty standard. Looks pretty good. We'll go take a look at his opponent's deck as well. Keanu Reeves. See what he's up to. Drongo Rush Land. Keanu Reeves. You're the hero of the day. You are truly the hero of the day. I like this. He's doing the Drongo Rush Land strategy. So hopefully Dupes gets taken out, because that sounds like a great strategy, Keanu Reeves. I'm very excited to see this. All right, so we've got Dupes going up with the Quartermaster now, and we see his Explorer now fighting off. His Explorer's on quite low HP, 157. So really nice. Just dodging the Tiger. Just there, but his Explorer is really low. He's got to be careful with this. He needs to crack shot it, but he's got to be careful here, because this Tiger's going to come back. I don't think he realized. So he killed this Tiger before this Tiger bounced, and as a result, he still retains aggro. So the invisible circle that you have around on the outside, okay, once the Tiger hits the outside and bounces back, that's when aggro has reset. So if you kill the other Tiger after that Tiger bounces, after the first Tiger bounces, you will still have aggro. And Dupes obviously didn't realize that, and as a result, it meant that his Explorer died. Getting up the bank in transition now using, how many? Is that 4 villages? Okay, that's the correct amount. Got a little bit of a slant on that bank as well. Leaning a little bit to the left, but I'm sure we can see if he's got a plan for that. 400 wood now coming in, 700 wood as well behind this. We'll take a look at Keanu. Keanu going up with Torii Gates, so we can expect him to be aggressive. Now, we're just going to check the scouting from Dupes, because keep in mind, Dupes has got an envoy. So Dupes needs to be in this base. He needs to be scouting out everything. He needs to be distracting that samurai, really keeping it back. So I want to see him moving this envoy into his opponent's base as the Dutch player. Now putting up the second bank, which is probably the wise choice, especially because you're up so much earlier than the Japanese player, about 30 seconds earlier. You can wait for your shipment of 700 wood. You don't have to be building off your 400 wood for the racks. Even against Torii Gates, I think it's still fine. So hopefully, though, we should see a barracks go down immediately for Dupes. Where is that barracks? Still no barracks yet. Dupes, what are you doing? You're dropping a bank. Not right now. Okay, so the envoy never got into this base, so we don't know what he's up to. We don't know what the first shipment is. I suspect it's 600 wood. It is indeed 600 wood, but it's better to know than to suspect or to assume. And that's definitely what that envoy should be doing. We've now got the Explorer just hanging out, not really doing much either. So it needs to definitely be... The Explorer needs to be in the base ready for the Samurai, inevitably, eventually, if he starts to siege houses. It's very easy just to attack them down and turn them down. Now, we've got some houses in the back here, as well as the barracks that's at the back. Typically, as the Dutch player, I'd like to be seeing more of a wall, more of a concave that's going on here. So instead of these houses just like this, I'd be having a house here, and then the barracks there. Or a house here, and then a market here, and then a barracks just there. something like that. You know, you want to be having this nice little wall, and then you've got your skirmishers in here. And that's it. That's the perfect spot for them. It's a little bit tough because right here, these trees are actually blocking building any kind of successful wall. Even if you put a pillar down in here, it's going to be really hard. The units are still going to get through. So the market now going up, so building on that wall, that's not too bad of an addition. The main thing is that with this Rax, you need this Rax up ASAP because you need to start getting skirmishes out against the Japanese player because they're going to be making Ashigaru. Eventually, they'll mix it into Nagi, but you got to start by going into with skirmisher. Now we see him losing his Explorer, so a little bit of a mistake here as well. 72 experience now going over to the Japanese player. So Keanu Reeves taking names. Looks like he's going to potentially lose the Samurai. He definitely will to the skirmishers. So very, very nice. We've now got some pikes being trained. Now, he sees the shrines up here, so this is actually a pretty good choice. You've got two options at this point. You can either go... you can build pikes or you can ship pikes. And I think building pikes is probably the right choice just because you're not going to see a huge amount of Nagi in the beginning and they're just going to allow you to siege. So from here, he needs to be training a villager. So we're missing a villager and also needs to be making skirmishers. So that is really the key. So making those skirmishers, making sure that they stay in queue. So he's got the fourth bank going down now at 7 minutes. So not too bad. Normally the timing that I use is 6 minutes. If you've got 4 banks at 6 minutes, then you're on par. But obviously, you know, Jupes has got a bit of a while to go with his build order, with refining it, making sure it's perfect. We can see that he does appear to be macroing for that Fortress Age. The issue is that he's got the potential to get overrun at this point, especially against Torii Gates, and he has scouted the Torii Gates. Now, if he hovers over it, it probably won't say Torii Gates. It'll probably just say, you know, Unknown Wonder. But you can recognize the foundation and know that it's the Torii Gates. Now sending in 8 pikes. So this is a bit awkward, okay? And the reason why is because it actually pops him. So he's sitting at 40 over 40, so he can't train any more villagers. He can't make any skirmishes. And it's difficult because if his opponent pushes in... Now, we've already scouted that his opponent had like, what was it? 10, maybe 12 Ashigaru. If the Ashigaru push up and he's not paying attention... They're just going to kill these 5 skirms. They're going to kill the 5 pikes. And then all you're going to have are 8 pikemen that are left. And 8 pikemen really aren't going to do a lot. Especially against, you know, 15, 20 Ashigaru. And here we go. Almost with perfect timing. But he does pick it up. He does manage to see it. So he needs to be sending these pikes out and trying to snare them. Because he needs to keep the skirms alive. That's the main thing. He needs to be trying to keep the skirms alive. But unfortunately, the skirmish is just running across the face. Gonna get caught out 100%. 8 pikes now coming in as well. These pikes really aren't going to be helpful. Exiled Prince going up. I would be a bit more of a fan against early aggression just to get a few more skirms out. So if we just got, you know, 10, 15 skirms out in the early game, it would have been so much easier. If we had 15 skirms right now, there's no way he can push into this. TC fire, you know, focusing down the daimyo. Skirmishers just firing on these units. He can't do anything. You just sit in here, you know, throw up a nice cute little wall in the back here just so he can't get through here with like the sneaky, you know, 2 or 3 Nagis or something like that. And yeah, and that's all it. But now as a result, it means that unfortunately it does look like he's going to lose his barracks. We might speed it up a little bit just because the game is running quite slow. Those units are loud, aren't they? Gosh, because they've got the grenades, these guys here, the Shinobus. So plenty of units now pouring in for Keanu. We might slow it down, just have a look. So TC now getting sieged. This is pretty ridiculous, the fact that the TC is getting sieged. Now keep in mind, he doesn't actually have any shipments, and even if he did, it wouldn't matter because he's population blocked. So really needs to be probably getting up a second market. I suspect this market's going to be the next thing to be targeted down. That's what I love, targeting the market for the Dutch player. If they don't have 100 wood and you kill their market, good luck to them because, you know, they hate chopping wood, those Dutch players. That is so loud. Oh my god. All right. We're going to burn this TC down real quick. Minutemen get called. Pikemen are coming in, looking to snare, but not really doing too much. They're just sort of being a distraction. A bit of a waste, to be honest, because this TC was going down nonetheless. The Minutemen call was appropriate, but hopefully he can get those villagers out. Ideally, what he should have been doing is pulling these villagers out a little bit before the town center went down, just so that he could get them out, because you see 1, 2 villagers going down at least. If we take a look, there's going to be more. There's 3. There's 4. So losing 4 villagers when ideally you could have lost none. So that's one thing. You can trickle them out. So if you hold the town center and then you click down here, there's a little settler icon. You can just click that one. So that's not too bad either. So we've got 9 skirmishes at this point. He's got 7 pikes. So really not a lot. If we take a look at scores, scores are surprisingly a little bit in his favor, despite him just losing his town center, Iraqs, and like a whole bunch of infrastructure. Now putting out some more skirmishes as well. We'll speed it up as well, just to have a look. He does have a shipment. But the issue is he doesn't have a shipment point. So he's got a shipment, but he's got nowhere that he can send it. So he's dropping down a town center. So it's quite wise. If I was him, I would be building it with 7 settlers and the explorer. You're going to build it quite fast if you do that. Another thing here is because his opponent's explorer has actually been knocked down, don't stand on the explorer. Because if you take a look at Keanu's perspective, he literally sees where your army is. So if I know, look at that. If I know your army is here, well, guess what I can do? I can go take my army and I can just go walk up here. Or I can flank it. Maybe I can, put some army down here, some army over here, and then flank you because I can see exactly where you are. So that's something to keep in mind. All right, so now the town center is slowly going up. It looks like he's managed to put up an outpost because he's getting that shipment of 1,000 wood in. So definitely the right choice of shipments. 1,000 wood is definitely going to help here. But the main issue is if there's a timing attack by Keanu, and it definitely looks like it is because the score is going up, he's going to be in a really hard spot. If Keanu was pushing in right now, and Keanu's mixing Nagis as well, which is exactly what he needs to be doing. Oh, he's got a huge amount of Nagis already. See, Keanu should just be going with this. He should know, I took out my opponent's town center. He's going to be a little bit behind. He doesn't have too much infrastructure. But it's understandable. I mean, if we take a look at the population, you can see that, oh my god, look at the population difference. Keanu is up by double the population at this point. That is incredible. The fact that he's up double population and still, behind in score just really speaks to... I don't know, I guess Dutch just have quite an inflated score because of banks, I suspect. But Jupe, when he sees that should immediately trigger him to GTFO. You don't want to be standing around here. There's a whole lot of Ashi that are moving towards you. So ideally, you want to be positioning yourself up in here. This is a really good point, a very nice choke. If any Nagi come in here, you're going to be very easily able to block them, just even with 7 pikes. That's all you need. So he needs to be getting off shots. Even if it's just, on the front line Nagi, that's fine. And pulling these skirmishers back, so getting them all in the same group and getting them all back, doing the right thing. Now he's got Reuters in. Reuters are going to provide a lot of defense here, but look how fast that barracks goes down. So he needs to be doing these hits, and he is actually doing quite a good job. Pikemen now coming in. This is what they need to be doing. Needs to be filling this gap. If he gets past this gap, it's going to be really difficult. Pikemen are actually coming in over the top. Managing to get a pretty good block there, to be honest. We've got four Nagis in the back that just aren't doing anything. Now, finally, the Nagis are getting pulled out. And it's a little bit too late just because the Nagis have actually managed to be cleaned up by the pikes. 6 pikes remain, 9 Reuters. Now, he's got to be really careful. You can't let these units just chase in and die. This is your only handicap. You've got to be bringing them back. You've got to be so careful with these Jupe. You've got 8 Reuters, 7 Reuters, 6 Reuters, 5 Reuters. And they just keep falling, so you really got to be careful. Sure, you just got another batch of 5, but you could have 15 Reuters right now. You could have 15 Reuters and 7 pikes. And unfortunately, you don't. So you just got to be very careful with them. You can put them on stand ground. It's definitely advisable before you've got the range cavalry caracol upgrade. And managing to just micro back now, so still a significant army here for Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is pushing in with quite a decent amount. Keep in mind, he's got the Daimyo there as well. Daimyo needs to be on the back line, though, because with the Daimyo, if he gets shot, they're going to be losing all of these buffed up attacks. Daimyo does go down. They now lose those attacks, so dropping down from 32 attack down to 29 attack. Reuters coming out, going to be able to take down the Nagi that's on the back line here. It's actually not too bad. I think he may hold here. He's got some settlers in the mix as well. There's been a lot of settler fights lately, hasn't there? And these settlers are actually doing a really good job because this is what he needs. He needs to win this fight. The most important thing here is he wins the fight. And with these skirmishers... Oh, skirmishers doing a bit of a dance. I don't like this. Look at that trading post. Careful, you're playing with a black hole right there, my friend Jupes. Managing to get them around, though. Eventually, and being able to hold. This is definitely a hold. He's got way too many skirmishers. I suspect we're going to see a score jump for Jupe at this point. We'll fast forward it ahead. Now we see the scores starting to push out. And I think from this position, Jupe is definitely in a significant lead because he's still got 5 banks up at this point. He's got 5 banks up. He lost his town center, but it doesn't really put him that far behind. He's in age 3. He shipped his 1,000 wood. He's not doing too bad. He's got 15 villages, but keep in mind, really, he has about 35 villages. And we compare that over to Keanu Reeves. He's on 36 villages. He's got a whole bunch of shrines. He's got 10 shrines up at the moment, but they're not the best shrines in the world. So he's got a slightly further ahead economy, but he doesn't have veterancy upgrades. Whereas we've got, this is Skirm Goon, which is considered, peak meta at the moment. If I could choose any 2 units to have in my composition, it would be these 2 units. It would be the Dutch Skirmisher, the Dutch Reuter. Gotta curl that tongue. All my Dutch fans are gonna be very happy with that. But now pushing in, this is the right choice. I mean, in the composition that your opponent's got, you need to be poking against them. you need to be forcing them off resources. If they're going to be on this coin mine right here, well, the coin mine's actually mined out, but, you know, you need to be coming in, angling in, making sure you're idling villagers down here until you've got some form of siege. Because it's going to be really difficult to siege with Reuters that have got 7 siege and skirms that have got 14 siege. So we'll speed it back up. We see more shipments coming in now, so 8 skirms coming in. A little bit population blocked at the moment. Does he drop down a house? Does he have a market? He does have a market. He drops down a double house. It's an advisable choice. And we take a look at Keanu Reeves' perspective and we see the populations. Populations have now swung back. So it really just goes to show you got to be so careful when you're fighting amongst settlers, because settlers can just really take a whole bunch of damage, and skirmishers are going to be able to put out a whole bunch of damage onto your damage dealers. Now, very interesting shipment right here coming in. Way of the Bow coming in. This is probably one of the worst shipments that you could be sending right now, Keanu Reeves, unfortunately. I would probably be going for 2 Flaming Arrows, and the reason why, you have no Yumis. I mean, you have 6 Yumis, okay? But you've got 29 Ashigaru. So you're going to be thinking, like, how much value are you getting from that? You would be getting a lot more value right now from 9 Yumi, or from 2 Flaming Arrow, or even, you know, 8 Ashigaru wouldn't be terrible, or, you know, you've already got Ashigaru attack, but you've got no Yumis out right now. So the fact that you're sending that, it breaks my heart, because I'm just thinking, you know what, you could be doing not too bad right now, but unfortunately it's a bit of a difficult spot. If you ship 2 Flaming Arrows, you really put the burden back onto Jupe and say, look, if you want to push in here, that's fine, but you're going to need at least a Culverin before you do it. So it's going to force him, it's going to buy you time, because your economy is still ahead at this point. It's just that you need to sort of catch up to him. You are losing shrines all over the map though, and actually Jupe's doing a pretty good job, honestly, of dealing with these shrines. If we take a look at Keanu's perspective, he's only got these are his last 2 shrines out on the map. Every other shrine is in his base. So really, really nice by Jupe. Very impressive to get on top of a Japanese player's shrines like that. So we'll speed it up just a little bit more. We'll take a look and see. So Jupe is now posturing. Incredible that Jupe managed to come back from such a population deficit. That was like literally 50% of the population. Now shipping Cav Combat. Okay, so of Cav Combat, he's going to be doing the timing. I probably would be going, because there's no Hussars, I'd be going Infantry Combat instead. If you had a mass of Hussars, so you've got 27 Reuter. If you had, say, 19 Reuter and like 7 Hussars, and you were training more Hussars at this point, then I would be going Cav Combat. But because actually pre-training a Culve, I like this. But because you have no Hussars, I don't think Cav Combat's wise. I would just be going Infantry Combat instead. So going the Culve is quite wise, because he's suspecting that his opponent's going to be shipping 2 Flaming Arrows. It seems like the right choice. It seems like the obvious choice. And to be honest, it is the right choice. So definitely, you know, a wise thing from Jupes here. Now with the second Culver as well, so really just hammering it home. Doesn't want his opponent to have any sort of chance when it comes to artillery. Really sealing the deal. 50 veteran skirms out now, 28 veteran Reuters, and at this point there's really nothing that Keanu Reeves can do. You know, I saw Keanu Reeves in the Matrix. He was dodging bullets everywhere, but you would have to be some next level matrician. Is that what they call them? Matrician? To be dodging this many skirmisher bullets, because that is a lot. You've got to be really careful with the Reuters. They're all bunched up. You kind of want to keep them spread it out, because if you don't want to focus down, you just want to be attack moving on Nagis, because you're going to be overkilling them otherwise. Colv's getting off some shots in the back line, and this fight isn't even going to be close, and we can see that Keanu calls it. So really well played from Jupe. I love the use of settlers on the back line here. Primary thing would simply be that you've got to be careful when you're doing a fast fortress. See what your opponent is doing. Scout what your opponent is doing. If your opponent is going for a Torii Gates, you probably want to play a little bit in Age 2 before you go up to Age 3. Otherwise, you're going to lose your town center, you're going to lose your racks, you're going to lose houses, and it's just going to feel bad. So let's go take a look and see what the final end screen was. So we've got resources. We can see Jupe's actually ahead. Now keep in mind, he did ship a lot of crates. We take a look at military unit count. Have a look at this. 73 military unit population, 42, and then Jupe comes ahead. Look at that. He goes up to 39. How does that even happen, man? That is incredible. Let's take a look at villager count. Not too relevant in this matchup. Both of them are playing bank and shrine civilizations. Losing a few villagers though, Jupe, is 1, 2, and then 8. and then 20 down to... So he lost 13 villagers over the course of the game. So you got to be careful, Drip. All right, fellas, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for watching.